Thank you for tuning into the latest episode of the Splashcast, your go-to podcast for news and discussion in the world of sports.
Oh, we back. I heard it.
You hear it?
Yeah.
All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 177 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. I'm your co-host, Reggie.
I'm your co-host, Norwood. I have a very strange, I had the YouTube in my ear, so I was waiting on me to be me. But yeah, we here. We here to kick it.
Yeah, we back, man. So, hey, look, man, y'all just gonna have to, I'll have to just post the pregame because I got it all recorded. I just don't know why you couldn't hear it on the stream. So what we'll end up doing is we'll end up posting the pregame, talked about the Braves, talked about the Robo-Umps. And we just started the stream over so that y'all can hear us. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear both of us in the chat. Well, give us a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear both of us on the stream. Dang, we had a whole lot of good jokes that kind of. I'll put the jokes in.
We were saving them for later anyway.
But y'all. And finally. Grambling State University's Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics, Travion D. Scott, announced that the upcoming GSU Athletics Annual Fund, inspired by the House versus NCAA case, will allow for revenue sharing with the students. If you remember, we brought this up with University of Tennessee. They were the first ones to bring this up of revenue sharing with the students, and now this has gone over to Grambling State. Now, with Tennessee, I think the issue was that they were passing that cost on to the student and to the patron who was trying to go to the game. Correct. I wonder how Grambling State is going to do this.
Yes, I like this because there's a synergy that comes with profit sharing. I have worked for multiple companies where profit sharing has been a thing. So, yeah, you take in your day-to-day a little bit differently because I know that our collective efforts are going to pay off for me. So, yeah, every day that I come to work, I'm trying to do the best at my job because when that profit share number comes, even though I'm only one small grain of sand in this massive corporation, if I do my part, I do have some influence. Not the most influence, but we're connected and we're tied in this thing. And when you get that number, when it comes out right, you feel a part of something larger and you feel connected and you kind of recommit like, oh, we did this and y'all gonna give me this? Oh, let's run that back. We can do this again. I like the way y'all do. And it's, we have to make money. It's not like a lot of these schools for a long time was just like, oh, this is what I think athletes have always wanted is y'all are going to get rich. Just let us get some of the money along the way. Had they done this from the beginning, then I think that this was a way more reasonable thing because I'm only paying you out of the profit that we make. So if we don't make nothing, it's nothing for anybody. But if we do our part, then we can all get some money here.
Yeah, you can. I like it because you're also able to entice other recruits to come to your establishment, right? Even the ones that if they're not seeing the numbers, everybody's not going to be Jeremiah Smith or Tate, his teammate, to go to and get paid $5 million to go to the transfer portal. Everybody ain't going to be able to do that. And everybody's not going to have teammates that are going to be like, well, my NIL is this much. I'm going to go ahead and pay for his expenses since he can't. Right. Everybody's not going to have that. Those are unique cases, and that's why you only see one or two of them. But what you can have is a negotiation tactic where you can say, hey, if I can get 5 of y'all this Baton Rouge team has a state championship team with 15 players that can play college football right now. If I could get 5 of y'all to come to Southern, right? I know that y'all going to bring in all the revenue. This also entices other people, other HBCUs now to go back and play the money games too.
Yeah, because we all going to get paid now.
Now that's interesting. And I wonder how that will work if HBCUs play like FAMU plays a Florida State or Florida, and they both have this, or we'll just say Grambling and Tennessee since they both have this in there. If Grambling and Tennessee play each other, what does that mean for the revenue sharing and all of that stuff? Does Grambling now get to negotiate and say, well, we want part of the revenue for our NIL too, versus we just gonna pay you $500,000?
That's one of the things that I think has moved us away from classics, is that when you go to the neutral venue, you got to pay for the venue and all the rest of that. So you're not getting as much money as I'll take a home game and an away game, where when it's my home game, I get everything, food and bev, I get ticket sales, I get sponsorship. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a conversation to be had. I think that there is a special place for classics, but I think that you got to do it where there are more people who have to benefit now. But I think that I'm a person who doesn't mind sharing so that everybody can get a piece.
Because you black. That's been our detriment. Because there's a demographic that don't share with nobody.
I'm also trying to go to the right upper room. A small investment. Hey, keep that on my book. I share well.
Your head to the sky. Hey, Splashcast fans, are you ready to take your obsession to the next level? Join the Splashcast community on Instagram and our own Facebook page for an immersive experience like never before. Get in on the action with lively discussions, fiery debates, and a community that's as passionate as you are. Our social media platforms are buzzing with the latest podcast news, exclusive updates, and behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. Don't miss out on the chance to connect with fellow Splashcast enthusiasts. Dive into the conversation, share your thoughts, and be part of something bigger. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, or go to www.splashcast.com to join now. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our football segment of episode 177 of the Splashcast Monday Night Raw. Got a few things we're going to talk about today. Actually, we only got one thing we're going to talk about today. That's NFL Championship weekend in terms of games that were actually played. We do have some news, coaching carousel news. I tried to wait. I thought you had already poured it. We do got
double
some
coaching. Double up, baby! Double up!
We got some coaching carousel news on the way. Why not? Let's start out. Let's do it. Y'all know what we starting off with.
Get consent, please.
Oh, man.
Bad boys. What you gonna do? You gonna do when they come for you?
Tuck it. All right, so the Cowboys made a surprise hire by signing Brian Schottenheimer to a 4-year deal, contractually tying him to Dallas to 2028.
Who?
Marty Schottenheimer's son.
Oh, Lil Shotty.
Lil Shotty.
They never gonna call him. He's the new Zachary Taylor Thomas before we even start the season. Lil Shotty.
So let me look this up real quick, because I want to say Brian Schottenheimer has not been regarded as being good anything. Like a good coordinator, a good position coach. Like, he is the epitome. He was a St. Louis Rams assistant, wide receivers coach at Syracuse in 1999, tight ends coach, quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator.
The requirement to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You didn't know that? I feel like my grandma. I bet you didn't know that, did you? You want to know what the requirement to be coach of the Dallas Cowboys is?
A boy.
You shut up and do what Jerry tells you to do.
A boy.
And I'll be honest, I take the job. Jerry, you ain't gonna talk to me crazy. But if you ask me to do something, I'll do it. For sure. I ain't qualified for this job. I'm gonna tell you. Well, I ain't qualified for it, and you ain't qualified for it, but you pay the bill. So
what's interesting is that I've read a few things where Jerry has quoted loyalty in all of these things. If you notice, people that he rewards are people that stay with the organization. Brian Schottenheimer, they kind of hired him as like they put him on the Saban plan, like the Sarkisian Saban plan. So like he was the offensive coordinator in Seattle. Seattle wasn't good. He was the Jacksonville Jaguars passing game coordinator last year. We see what that got you. So then they sent him to Dallas as an analyst. So he was an analyst in 2022 under McCarthy. Then he was the offensive coordinator on 2023 and 2024. And now he's been promoted to the head coach. So if you think about people wanting to hire, if you think about the practice of losing a head coach, normally you want, and he's especially an offensive head coach, normally you want to hire the offensive coordinator unless the head coach takes the offensive coordinator with him. Mike McCarthy does not have a job yet, so therefore Brian Schottenheimer does not have a job. So in totality, thinking of like hire and how you want to replace coaches, this is the right move, but this is the wrong person. It's the right move, but the wrong person. If the Falcons had done this with Kyle Shanahan and signed LaFleur, we would have, Dan Quinn would probably still be the coach there. I don't say probably, but he would have been there for a while.
If you don't want me, then don't talk to me.
See what I'm saying?
Go ahead and free yourself.
But I don't know what Dallas is doing. Jerry's old. You don't have time to build.
Nobody knows what Dallas is doing but Jerry. And Jerry trying to have a glass of scotch. So this is what we will get. We'll get entertainment. Pants are 100% optional. But this is the reason that we tune in to look and to laugh. Not my problem, not my monkey, not my show. And I love that. I love it. Genuinely do. So, yeah, we're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy this. Cheers.
I don't know. I don't even know, like, what staff is he hiring? Like, is the staff going to go with McCarthy? Is he going to hire a whole new staff? Like, Schottenheimer ain't never been in no position to have a staff. Quarterbacks coach, offense coordinator.
Reggie, you are my boy.
He coached Mike Sanchez.
Let me help you out. Do not waste your time trying to figure out what Jerry is going to do, because you won't. You can't. Because we use logic and reasoning and all of these things. And Jerry has made it kind of clear. He ain't interested in no logic nor no reason.
None. I run the show. I think him and Steven are beefing low key.
Yeah, he probably like, man, I'm waiting on this kick the bucket so I can get this. And I don't know. I'm not gonna waste any time trying to figure it out though. For sure not.
Oh, I wasted a whole 4-5 hours after this came out. I was like, bro, there's got to be something that I'm missing, that the world is missing. That this
don't know why. That Nor Jones.
Oh man. So the Cowboys are in for more pain and suffering. And now you gotta sign Micah. And I ain't gonna lie, if I was Micah, this is one of the most underwhelming hires that you exactly. I'm out of here, bro. I'm gonna be the top paid defensive player in the league.
Micah, if I'm CD, I'm out. I ain't gonna be there. You are who?
They just pay CD. You know, Jerry ain't about that. Jerry at the point now where he don't care what you want to do.
This team cannot deal without any of those guys. You need Dak, you need CD, and you need Micah. And if I was all or any of them, ain't doing it. Ain't going. I ain't going back and forth. No, I ain't going to that stadium. I ain't going nowhere. Find a replacement. Or don't. I don't care.
I know that all my Dallas Cowboy fans, all my friends that are Cowboys fans, are either mute or extremely loud with the frustration. There was no jovial Cowboys fan, I think, in the nation. I don't think anybody was happy about this hire. Nobody. I have not heard one good word about this.
I'm thrilled about it. I love content creation. Jerry is no shortage of giving us things to talk about on this podcast. Shout out to him. Beautiful stadium, by the way, too. Beautiful.
We were talking about the Eagles defeated the Commanders. That's what we were talking about. So, basically, the Eagles beat the Commanders. The last thing I said was that the game was closer than 55-32 or whatever it was. The game was a lot closer than 55-32, Shannon. But at the end of the day, they just didn't have enough.
Didn't have enough. You're playing against a coach who has a ton of experience. CJ Gardner-Johnson, shut up. Y'all won the game, but I want to be very clear. Look, I want to cover these stats so we can put into context exactly how elite Jaden Daniels was. 4,135 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 69% completion rate, another 970 yards on the ground, 6 rushing touchdowns. First playoff berth for the Washington Commanders since 2020. First playoff win since 2006. I was in college in 2006. And the first NFC championship game since 1991. Yep. I was 5.
Mark Rippon.
So, great season. Tons of respect. Excellent place to start. Do whatever you can to try to mitigate the sophomore slump, but also accept the sophomore slump because it's on the way.
Yeah, maybe on the way, but they're uniquely qualified to be able to handle it because I think they have $100 million in salary cap space.
Yeah, but they got to pay some guys too. So
no, they probably gonna end up letting what's the cornerback that came from New Orleans? They're gonna end up letting him go because they don't want to pay Lattimore. They don't want to pay him, so they have a chance to actually make this team a whole lot better around him. They could probably go get another receiver. They like De'Ami Brown as a 3. Terry McLaurin is a really good 2. He's a really good receiver as a 2. But when he goes up against elite, I wouldn't even say elite. Okay.
I'm still here. Rock along.
I wouldn't even say elite. I would say when he goes up against serviceable to good or better cornerback number ones, he tends to disappear. I don't know if that's a better. Quinyon Mitchell held him to like 1 catch. I think. What's his name? Held him to 1 catch. AJ Terrell at the end of the season. I think they need another receiver. I like Zach Ertz at tight end for them. He's a little older. I'd probably get somebody younger just as a tight end number 2 or maybe even a 3 to develop. But, I mean, Washington came into this game supremely undermanned. And I'm not taking anything away from the Eagles because the Eagles are the Eagles. But Jaden Daniels had a hell of a year, as you just named all the stats. They missed 2 of their starting offensive linemen. 1 towards ACL last week, the best one towards ACL last week. The second best one got hurt in like the second quarter. Jalen Carter saw that and just ate them alive in the second half. And once you get down by that many points, and they didn't have Daron Payne, their best run stopper, against who? Saquon Barkley, who is the best back in the league, 2,400 yards including the playoffs. I think he needs 29 yards to break the record by Terrell Davis. So
most ever in a season,
including the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. So you got that. Then you have Nick Sirianni as the only coach in NFL history to make the playoffs in the first 4 years and go to the Super Bowl, twice in that. So I know people don't like moral victories, and the answer is always that you never know when you're going to get back or if you are going to get back. But you did everything that humanly possible to get to where you outkicked your coverage. You did everything possible. This is way more than anybody could have expected. Every Commanders fan I've come in contact with is they hated to lose to the Eagles. I get that because you don't want to lose a conference game. But they're overall looking at the season, they feel thrilled.
Yeah, you just hope you don't fall into that failed clutch of having to play the Eagles over and over again because the Eagles have done or are doing, and we'll see what they can do. If they win this year, then they will be at the front end of doing what every sports franchise tries to do, and that's extend your success. by bringing in younger players. Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, a couple players, they retired. I think Barnett is probably going to retire in the next year or two. But they've successfully transitioned to Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis even was making plays yesterday, which I knew it was. Once that happened and he ran down Jaden Davis, I was like, oh, it's a wrap.
But
and
the Eagles going to have, like, the Eagles are going to be tough, but, I mean, you're going to, anywhere you go, it's going to be a problem. Them boys in the AFC, they surely would love to trade the Eagles for Mahomes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, then that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's why I'm saying you could probably right now, the Washington Commanders are the Houston Texans of last year, except for they made it one game further.
Yep.
You have the opportunity because you have a lot of money to go and bring in somebody. They brought in Daniil Hunter this year. It kind of became a push, but it worked out. You really just ran. I mean, they played a hell of a game. You ran into Mahomes, and the same thing can happen for the Washington Commanders, and that they run into the Eagles. It's gonna be a little different because the Mahomes is Mahomes, or the Eagles have taken the college approach, and they've built an incredible roster around Jalen Hurts. So when Jalen Hurts doesn't have a good game, they can still win the game. And then when he does have a good game, like he did yesterday, then they go 50, and they have Saquon, they go 55-32.
They still got Brian Robinson over there. I think that, as much as I talk about Scary Terry, I think he could be an elite wide receiver too. I think that's got to be another team that's calling to see what T. Higgins is going to take for him to get him on that team. I think that if I'm T. Higgins, I got to at least look and see what that looks like. And I can get paid a decent amount there because you're not paying a ton of money to the quarterback at this point. So,
and my contract will run out by the time you got to pay the quarterback.
Ding, 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 ding. So but that's the thing. You're right. It's going to be a ton of opportunity, but there's also going to be like the Justin Fields thing. Somebody's going to win that lottery, but that means that there are going to be a bunch of teams. I think there are probably 5 or 6 teams. That's their plan. It ain't going to hit for everybody. I know that the Ravens, Steelers, and you assume at least the Commanders are going to be in the T. Higgins. Oh, and I mean the Bengals to a certain degree are going to be in that. So
T. Higgins, more than that. I thought you were talking about Justin Fields. T. Higgins, it's the Titans, the Raiders, almost anybody that has money is going to go after T. Higgins because he's so good. Now we'll have to see how good he turns out to be without Jamar Chase.
And there's also not a ton of, I think, top end wide receivers outside of maybe like a Ted McMillan. There's just not a bunch of those in the draft either. So the free agencies are going to be kind of marked up because of availability.
Yeah. But all in all, man, the Commanders played about as well as I thought they were going to play. Honestly, Quinyon Mitchell looks like the new Darrelle Revis. Cooper DeJean is a hell of a nickelback to be able to play. But that front seven, even with Zach Braun, who came from the Saints and now he's playing out of his mind. Shout out to the Saints. You lost Zach Braun and Caden Ellis. You have such, and then you already have Nakobe Dean. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but I mean, he'll be back. He can at least be a rotational piece going forward.
Exactly.
And that front seven is going to be crazy.
Name? What's the other dude name? I forgot his name.
Nolan Smith?
Yes. And on top of that, let's be real. Y'all going to go right back in the draft another Georgia player. Let's be real.
Well, they got 3 just chilling. They signed Lewis Seen, who broke his leg, unfortunately, but he's back. He's going to end up taking over honestly, Lewis Seen, I could see them getting sick of C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Lewis Seen stepping right into that role.
Yep.
Then they have Nakobe Dean, and they still have Keely Ringo, who is big enough to play safety. Like, they have so many pieces that they could probably trade some and consolidate and get somebody that y'all really don't want to see them get. And I can't think of who that person is, but whoever it is, they could afford it because they've figured it out for at least the foreseeable future. Now, they got to keep A.J. Brown happy. But, I mean, as long as he keeps winning, they're going to be happy.
Yeah. And I mean, I would advise him to not get greedy. I think that there's good value in having Devontae Smith be your wide receiver too. You can't have everything. You can have the money, but if you have the money, you have more responsibility.
No, I think he can handle more responsibility. It depends on where the money you go. I mean, suppose he doesn't get paid like he wants to. You talking about T. Higgins? We just said Washington got $100 million. Like, and they got pieces to
Right.
trade. Now, I'm not saying that they would trade. Of course, you don't arm your enemy, but look at Buffalo. We'll get there in a second. But I mean, at the end of the day, the Commanders have moves, and the Eagles are good right now. I'm so impressed with the way that the Eagles have built this roster to be able to subsidize the loss of. I mean, Fletcher Cox is. I'm assuming eventually he might not be first ballot, but he's probably a Hall of Famer. He's at least Ring of Honor
lost
guy.
Kelsey.
And you lost Jason Kelsey, who's gonna make his way into the Hall of Fame some type of way. Now the Eagles are in trouble because both of their centers are now hurt. Like both of them, they may need to call Jason Kelsey for the Super Bowl. But and then of course Saquon first play of the game, 60 yards, Madden like run, spinning off people and cutting across the field. Shout out to you, the Giants. It's just the Eagles are too good.
I'm not in the business of like making sure people get fired. He deserves to be fired.
If I were a millionaire or a billionaire, I would get a statue made of Saquon. If they win the Super Bowl, I would get a statue made of him in a Phillies jersey, and I would put it right outside the Giants facility. And I put it in cement so you can't move it. Like you're gonna have to get you a crane to move it. That's what I would
do. They'll find somewhere to tuck it away.
Yeah. So, also, shout out to you. Maybe the biggest fumble, not even the Giants. Maybe the biggest fumble is Dan Snyder, who did not want to sell the team, but was forced into selling the team because of the toxic workplace environment. Revealed later on that he didn't want to sell the team, but was given the advice to sell the team because otherwise he was toast. And now he sees this and he's freaking sick that they are basically flourishing without him. And they've flipped the entire team, entire franchise.
We broke up and my life got way better.
Now you the bitter ex.
The whole city of DC, the whole DMV probably better for Dan Snyder not being around. Sometimes life treats you like that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You had ample opportunity to get it right. I don't feel sorry for you.
The one thing about the Super Bowl being in 2 weeks instead of 3 like it used to be is the Eagles got some injuries now. They got a couple. Jalen Hurts hopefully will get healthy. And as good as Washington's defense is, they were missing pieces, and it seems like the Chiefs' defense is a little bit better. Chris Jones is going to be a scary person. Whoever your weak link is on the offensive line, they just put Chris Jones right over them. Defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive tackle, offensive guard. Don't matter who it is. If you are terrible, I'm going to put Chris Jones right there.
And he's going to do two things: cause havoc and cry. Every time I see Chris Jones, he got tears running down his face. Mm-hmm. And for the average human, I'm like, man, what you doing all this boo-hooing for? Him, hey, bro, whatever you doing, whatever you done went through, whatever it is, best of luck, bro. I don't want no smoke. I seen how you whoop them humans.
Yeah, speaking of Chris Jones, Chiefs beat the Bills. Man. Okay, we got controversy to talk about. We got GOAT talk. And then we got cinema. This is the new AFC rivalry. Now, depending on what side of the rivalry you're on, some people say it's not a rivalry because if it's a rivalry, that means another side has to win. And in the playoffs, the Bills just cannot beat Patrick Mahomes, especially in Kansas City. Kansas City won again, 32-29. Last second field goal. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lead changes in this game. It was back and forth. This was a masterful coaching performance. This was a masterful performance. Masterful rushing. This was good football. Deep plays. Mac Hollins had 2 amazing catches that I did not see happening at all.
I mean, I ain't gonna say that, man, because I've seen Mac. Even in Atlanta, he had a couple. He just wasn't. Yeah. He had a couple of those, just wasn't all the time. But when they really needed him, he went and got him.
And the Bills, they have found their running back A. Now, if you want to add 1B or add in a second running back, that's fine. But James Cook, another UGA guy. James Cook is him. He was running all over Kansas City. And Buffalo did everything you were supposed to do. They went for it on 4th down. They converted. They kicked field goals. They got turnovers. They scored. They made stops. Just Kansas City, heart of a champion. At the end of the day, to beat the man, you got to be the man. You got to beat the man, and it can't be by 1 or 2 points because they're the champion. It is what it is. Now, the tush push. I think that controversial tush push in the 4th quarter, I think that was a first down. I don't think that they stopped him. And that plus the INT that they called a catch by Xavier Worthy, that just added fuel to the whole y'all be cheating fire. But at the end of the day, you got to beat him. Got to beat him. Can't beat him.
You have to understand that they've earned those calls. They're going to get those calls. Those are the Tom Brady calls. Those are the Michael Jordan calls. Those are the calls that come with success. And once you get good enough, you'll get those calls. But as long as you don't as long as you're not that good, those calls don't belong to you. I'm always going to say that.
But the Bills are that good, though.
No, you're not. You're not Mahomes good.
Nobody's Mahomes good, but they're good enough to get those calls. The Bills are they've been the number 2 or 3 team in the AFC for the last Mahomes. Since Mahomes got there.
You're not if it comes down to Bills or Chiefs, it's gonna be the Chiefs. There's money involved here. There's marketing involved here. No, I can't do that. Yeah, that's it. You got to understand that. And I think as a coach, you go ahead and set that precedent on day one. We're not finna get shit when we go in here. The only thing we get is what we take.
I mean, yeah, and you saw that it was going to happen after the Houston game too. So you knew what it was. And again, we talking about it, but it's not like Buffalo played a bad. I mean, Buffalo, I don't really know what else you could have done.
Buffalo got the treatment that they just gave Baltimore. I played a pretty damn good game. This team just made fewer mistakes than I did.
Here's the thing, Buffalo, that's not true. The Chiefs they fumbled like 3 times. The thing is, it's kind of poetic that Lamar lost because a tight end dropped the 2-point conversion. Would they have won the game? We don't know. But it would have at least sent it to overtime. Then the very next week, Josh Allen, who benefited from that on 4th down to get into field goal range to tie the game, throws up what we thought was just a Hail Mary, but he was throwing it to Dalton Kincaid, and the ball hits him in the chest, and he drops it. It's starting to get spooky, and it's really the puppet master is Mahomes. But it's starting to get spooky how you're starting to see the parallels between the journey of Lamar and the journey of Josh Allen. They both have similar outings when they play the Chiefs. I think 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year. Was it last year that the Ravens lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game at home? It's the same thing. Like, and the Ravens be beating the Chiefs. Well, actually, no. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. But at the end of the day, both those guys, and what I'm starting to see, and you really might not see it, is you got Jordan, then you got Charles Barkley. You got Jordan. You got Patrick
And
Mahomes. You
John
got
Stockton.
Jordan. I ain't gonna call you Carl Mahomes because we don't ever put that in. But you got John Stockton. These guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, are probably gonna end up in the Hall of Fame. Lamar for sure. Josh may have to do some other stuff because he just doesn't have
He's
the
on
wins.
pace. He's on pace.
He's Jim Kelly.
Put it this way, though. Think about it like this. Of the NFL quarterbacks since he's been in the NFL, for the vast majority, he's been 2 or 3. If you're 2 or 3 for a decade, you get into the Hall of Fame.
And he's gonna get sympathy because he keeps losing to the same. He keeps losing to Jordan.
Right.
It's not like he's going out there and losing to like the wild card. He be blowing people out.
The same way that we believe that Matt Ryan gets into the Hall of Fame, the same way that we believe in what's old boy who used to play for the Chargers. I can see
Phillip Rivers.
Yes. The same way that they're gonna get into the Hall of Fame with no Super Bowls. If he wasn't to get to win a Super Bowl, I think that being top 3 for a decade, he gonna get there. But I also think that, I mean, Mahomes can't win them all, right?
Okay, so let's get to GOAT talk. Mahomes moves ahead of Brady in terms of pace. He has more playoff wins. He has more Super Bowls. He is right now, if he stays on this trajectory, he's going to end up being the greatest quarterback of all time. The funny thing is, we've been saying that for 4 years now, and we keep waiting on the fall off, and he keeps not falling off.
You sound like J. Cole, right? They've been waiting on They've been waiting on the fall off album forever, and it never showed up. Mahomes is just like, I don't have any expectation of losing anytime soon. And hey, y'all gonna have great regular season. I don't care. I don't care what y'all do. Y'all say
rarefied air, Schottenheimer.
You gonna have 18 million Hall of Fame seasons. Y'all two fight out between y'all. Actually, can today Monday Night Raw WWE put them in a steel cage match. Let them fight for the MVP. Playing for the Lombardi, my boy. That's the only thing that matters around here.
And you say Pat can't win them all. Well, Patrick Mahomes is in the him and Andy Reid are in the perfect sweet spot in terms of career. Andy Reid as a coach and Steve Spagnuolo and that staff all have 30, 40 years of experience in coaching. Andy Reid is already an offensive guru. That's what he's known for. Then you add in 30 years of coaching. Oh, and then by the way, I just give you the best quarterback to have of all time in terms of the start of his career. And you get to just draw up whatever play you want to because the defense in Spags is over there like, you know what? I don't even want to be a head coach no more. I've been there, done that. I just want to have the best defense possible. And I don't even know who their GM is, but he's making all of the right moves. They signed and then you sign Patrick Mahomes for 10 years. You're in the perfect. There's nothing you can do. You have to replace Travis Kelce, but hell, they're gonna find a way. They keep talking about it. They're gonna find a way to get Kyle Pitts. They're gonna end up doing something. And they just keep rinsing and repeating. Juju Smith-Schuster had a hell of a game. Xavier Worthy, shout out to the Bills. Now the Bills.
I told y'all about Juju when he was still with the Patriots. I said, if I was you, I'd take my ass right back over there to Kansas City and see if they had a couple dollars for me. And what did he do? He went right back over there, and here he is back in the Super Bowl. Hey, y'all hiring? I want to come back next year. And he's great because he's not super expensive. He's a great third or fourth option. He's a great third or fourth option. I did not say he was a great wide receiver because I know y'all don't listen and y'all do judge. But for what they need him to do, as long as Travis Kelce gonna be here, I'm gonna be here too. Because I just want the leftovers. I want the leftovers in the rings.
And then they gave him. Oh, let me even talk about Denard Hopkins, who just went over there for pennies. Who's motivated? But I do blame Buffalo for this. We keep saying on here, don't arm your enemies. You already have the generational mistake or not mistake because Josh Allen is going to end up going to the Hall of Fame.
Y'all lucky I only got my little machete in here. This is my little machete right here. You know I got the big one in there, but they handing out weapons right to him.
You traded back, or you traded with Kansas City. They ended up getting Patrick Mahomes. You got Josh Allen. Cool. You know what? We can't really get mad at you for that. I don't think a lot of people knew Patrick Mahomes was going to be this good, right? I think him and Josh Allen were kind of in the same space of they have the talent, they got the big arm, they can move around, but who's going to be what? He just, one happened to go to Buffalo, one happened to go to Andy Reid, right? Then, unfortunately, you didn't learn, and you gave Kansas City the fastest player in the draft. You drafted with the team that has eliminated you three out of the last 4 years now. You gave them Xavier Worthy, and you know what he was doing all during that game? Running fast, up and down the field, making catches, swing passes, and you gave that to Andy Reid. And you just
what you're going to say?
do.
Food once can't get food again. It's certain people who, hey, don't even call my phone number. No, you can't have nothing I got. If you get a player from me, you got to get it from somebody else. But from me to you, and I'm gonna call the GM on day one. Go to hell.
Yeah, don't even call me.
Lose my number.
Because and you notice the trades will never go the other way. It don't never be like, no, yeah, we're gonna give you a player. Nah, it be Kansas City like, cool. Y'all gonna do that? All right, well, we'll do that too.
What y'all got over there? You got me looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Let me go ahead and tell you. Don't call me no more.
It is what it is, man. So, Patrick
no, it
Mahomes.
ain't. No, it ain't. See, Reggie tried to smooth that by talking about it. The hell? You ain't gonna keep taking advantage of me, and I'm just gonna be sitting here. No, it ain't. I'm not happy. I don't like you. Don't call me no more.
It just said Patrick Mahomes apologize. Yo, I don't like that passive aggressive ass shit. Don't apologize to me after you keep winning and beating me. No, bro. I'm not trying to be your friend. This is not happy. I'm not wishing you well no more. I wish you well after the first 2 times you denied me of my greatness of getting to the pros, getting to the Super Bowl. After number 3, bro, we are rivals. Look, I'm giving you a quick dap. Ain't no hug. Ain't no nothing. We can be cool after the game. Don't come up to me and apologize. Say I'm sorry that I'm winning.
I wish you hell. Not wish you well. I wish you hell. And I ain't playing.
Don't send me.
Bro, and you're probably a
that.
Decent human outside of here and all the rest. I don't give. You make my job too difficult.
What's wrong with the NBA? Everybody can't be friends. Y'all, sometimes a little animosity, a little anger will get you over. You can be cool afterwards. You could be cool. Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson were best of friends. A little close in some people's eyes, but they were best of friends. When they played against each other, Magic Johnson gave Isaiah 5 stitches in the eye.
And they fell out for a long time too. Now,
yeah, after that, look, we trying to win. You gonna have to sacrifice. Do you want Patrick Mahomes to be your friend, or do you want to win? Let me tell you right now. Obviously, he could be your friend and still win. I don't know if you can do that.
Hey, tuck your emotions in. We got a game to play. Y'all can be friends in 15 years.
Hey, Splashcast listeners, are you ready to dive into some exciting opportunities with us? The Splashcast is now open for brand partnerships, advertisements, and sponsorships. We want your business to make a splash with our audience. Picture your brand reaching all of our loyal and passionate listeners who love our weekly content. From HBCU news around the culture to our splashes of the week, we cover it all. If you're looking for a dynamic platform to showcase your products or services, look no further. Reach out to us at diveteammedia@gmail.com. That's diveteammedia@gmail.com. Or visit our website at www.thesplashcast.com for more details. Are we gonna do hoops tonight, or hoops we ain't really got nothing to.
We're gonna talk about these. We're gonna talk about this right now. And Reggie can cut it and add it or not because it's very brief. But with that said, I want to have a conversation, and it's really a conversation about how to handle yourself and to handle business. But it showed up twice. And I know y'all like, Chris, what are you talking about? So first, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all everything, and then we'll kind of figure out how we talk ourselves through it. Jimmy Butler has been suspended again by the Miami Heat indefinitely.
Indefinitely
This is
after he walked out of
right. They walked out and shoot
practice.
around because they told him, yes, walked out. He walked out and shoot around because they told him he was coming off the bench. Also, Yusuf Nurkic has come out in the recent days and said that him and Coach Budenholzer, former Atlanta Hawks and Milwaukee Bucks coach, have not spoke in months. Now, Nurkic, who has been a starter for the vast majority of his career, was benched and then went from benched to coach's decision DNP. Did not play. Bradley Beal went from being a starter and is still getting paid $50 million a year from starting to the bench. In both instances, they did not have a personal conversation with these players. They just came in, made the decision, and that was it.
So here's the thing about Coach Bud. Coach Bud has always been a decent coach, right? He's from the Popovich tree. He got as much juice out of that Atlanta Hawks run where he was the coach as you possibly could. I think he went undefeated in a month. Waited all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and ran into LeBron.
I think it was January. Best January I think we've ever had.
Yep. Then we were 19-0. But then he went to and then he left unceremoniously. Like he just kind of dipped out on the Hawks and realized it wasn't going to get better and went to coach Giannis. So now he's coached Giannis and he wins a championship, and then they end up his personal tragedy. He ends up leaving. This at Phoenix has been, he walked into a burning building because I believe they didn't have him as the coach before. He had Monty, right? So Correct. He walked into a burning building, and you're now trying to clean up a mess of Bradley Beal, really a Bradley Beal mess.
I ain't gonna say it's exactly a mess. If you tell me I got Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, there are bigger messes. But for me, it's not about the mess. It's about how, if you look at how Miami and Jimmy Butler are in this fight, and everybody's blaming Jimmy, even though Jimmy really hasn't said much other than the script that's provided to him.
He said one thing. He got out of character one time and said, the truth will all come out soon, and that's when they started talking about the death of his father.
That's not out of character, though. That's not. He didn't really. He said, it's like sometimes you're in a relationship with somebody and you take the high road. You really want to be like, this what she did, she crazy. But as a guy, you don't want that, so you just be like, you know what? When it comes out, it comes out. If it don't, I'll take the lumps here. Jimmy has not done any of the things that he's done in the past.
What do you mean?
He didn't go crazy in practice like he did in Minnesota. He didn't call anybody soft like he did in Philly. And this is my thing with Jimmy is, you've talked to Jimmy Butler a million times. Like every time you suspend him, you got to have a conversation. So if you were going to bench him, just like Coach Bud should have done with Nurkic, and what he should have done with Brad Beal is, hey, man, let's sit down and have a man-to-man conversation. Hey, I don't like the way that this team is necessarily going right now. At this point, I want to bring you off the bench so we can do something different. But if I'm Jimmy Butler and I'm a star, you definitely can't bring me in the shoot around and tell me that Haywood Highsmith is going to start in front of me. You should have had that conversation when you were suspending me.
Yeah, not Haywood Highsmith.
and the same thing with Bradley Beal and Nurkic. Like they're being good soldiers about it, but they getting treated like trash. Like the least you could do is have a conversation with me.
Bradley Beal.
This is my job. You
Getting
can't
killed
tell
out there.
me if I'm a $50 million player, I've started my entire life. You should be man enough to say, well, I'm gonna tell you like this. The coaches that I've known and I've respected would tap me on the shoulder, have a man-to-man conversation. Hey man, this is what I got.
Fair.
But if you don't have those conversations, but nobody's like, hey, Budenholzer, you're being an asshole for what you're doing. That's an asshole move. That's like you go to your job tomorrow and they be like, hey man, whatever job you did 5 years ago, you gonna go do that. The hell I am.
I was trying to see if Budenholzer had a history of doing this, but he left the Bucks. It was for personal reasons. So, but his history is he just kind of abruptly leaves. Like he just be out.
Teague said that. Teague said that he kind of did him like that when you remember that time Teague got left at the stadium. And then they came and got him, and Teague was like, what y'all talking about? He was like, man, get your ass on this bus. Teague was like, oh, I know my time here is done. So, yeah. but it frustrates me because when teams, it's very similar to the way that I feel that Memphis did Dillon Brooks. When Ja got into all that trouble, then they tried to blame the aggressive thug culture on Dillon Brooks, even though that's how Zach Randolph has always run that organization. That's always been their thing, grit and grind, be physical. We're the place where we bully the bullies. But teams who control the beat writers, because you want to be able to talk to these people again, and they have the media contact, then yeah, you could spin it however you want to, because you're the larger entity. So you have Jimmy Butler, who's like, I'm not going to play these games with you. And then you have Nurkic and Beal, who are doing it, but they're not even getting treated with the respect that they deserve.
So it's interesting to hear you say, like, you made a point with Patrick Mahomes about getting the calls, right? You've earned those calls. You've earned whatever that is. In terms of Jimmy Butler, for whatever the media thinks of you or thinks going on until something is said or comes out, you've earned through your actions in the past, you've earned somebody looking at you like, oh, no, Jimmy, the assumption that you are the problem. Because when you are disgruntled, you become a problem. And it's been, aside from what, Chicago? Aside from Chicago that I just can't remember. Aside from Chicago, Minnesota, Philly, you wanted to leave and you were out and you became very outspoken about it and you became the problem. So
can I counter before we move on?
Try it. Yeah, go ahead.
Jimmy, number one, has been tasked with the responsibility of also being the guy who everything goes to. He's the guy who heavy as the head, but he gets all the responsibility. And he took you guys to what, 2 finals? And since he's taking you to those 2 finals, you haven't really done anything to improve this roster. And if you look at this roster, you don't have much. This is very interesting. You don't even have a point guard. You have Tyler Hero playing point guard. He's not a point guard. You just couldn't get rid of Duncan Robinson, so you just kept him. You signed Kyle Lowry to all that money. We knew, me and you sat here and laughed at them signing Fat Lowry. You signed Bam Adebayo, who's not having a great season, and he's up for like $50 or $60 million coming up. You've made a ton of bad mistakes, and Jimmy has carried you. Now what you really wanted to do with Jimmy was you didn't want to re-sign him because the only other team that could pay him in free agency right now is the Nets. So you try to cheap him out after he's done all the heavy lifting, and you won't fix the roster. Well, yeah, I want out.
That don't change nothing that I said, though. Whether you want out, because he didn't say anything, right? You said earlier he's sitting there not saying anything. I'm playing the role. I'm not going to say nothing. The truth will come out. Well, until the truth comes out, your reputation precedes you, right? Nobody else has had an issue with Spo publicly while they were there. Remember, Spo was throwing the clipboard at him, and Udonis Haslam was talking about, "I'll punch you in the mouth in the huddle." I'm not saying any of this is Jimmy's fault. I really read, and part of the slip up of what I was gonna say was when he was talking about his father died, and they asked him was he gonna play the next day. To me, that was the end of the relationship right there. But nobody has said anything, and that kind of got swept under the rug for whatever reason. So I don't think in that case in this case that it's Jimmy acting up or anything. I don't want that to be for y'all to think that's my thought. But my thought is, if you're not going to say anything, and once the truth comes to light, until the truth comes to light, you can only go off the past. And the past of Jimmy Butler has been when he's unhappy, he blows up the team or he makes it uncomfortable.
But Pat Riley is at least partially culpable for doing the same thing with D Wade and LeBron James.
Yeah, playing hardball? Yeah.
Not playing hardball. There's a difference in playing hardball and playing stupid.
Yeah, it was with the cookies with LeBron, I think it was.
I don't give a
That's what it was. Yeah, because they do the
I
do
don't
the five
care
thing.
what LeBron James says. You're not gonna get a player better than LeBron James. Pat Riley, sometimes you got to make an accommodation. And what really is going on now, when I look at the Miami Heat, and it's Jimmy versus Pat, but let's be very real about this. The Heat are like 9-10 in standings. You're fighting to stay. You're really trying to get out of the play-in. But in the midst of that, you're trying to at least stay in the play-in. You're teetering at this point, and you and Jimmy Butler, even if Jimmy is being a jackass, you're the guy who's guiding this team. You have to figure out how to get your team back to winning. Because if you don't, then you're wasting the time of the guys around him. If I'm Bam Adebayo, I'm like, hey, bro. Now, Bam is in a tight situation because he's already under contract for the foreseeable future for a ton of money. But what am I going to keep going out here and busting my ass for every night and you and Jimmy playing? If he don't want to be here, let him go. We still got
Well, there's another part to it, though. You can't just say let him go because you got to trade him or you got to get something back. So if he wants to go to Phoenix. And right now you're in you're in the player thing of I want to go where I want to go. If he wants to go to Phoenix. If I'm Pat Riley, if you want to go, cool. I'm trading you to a place that makes me the best possible team without you as possible.
You could say that if Jimmy Butler specifically said, trade me anywhere except for Memphis. That's it. At that point, you need to make the trade. Now it's, ma'am, I'm trying to break up with you. I don't want to fight with you anymore. I'm already out of this relationship. I'm mentally checked out of this relationship. At this point, just send me anywhere else. And I'm willing to go anywhere other than Memphis. Just, if you're telling me you can't find a trade with anybody else, I don't think you're trying very hard. I think you're more embattled in trying to prove that you're tough than trying to win games.
I agree with that. I think Pat Riley is willing to burn the entire house down before conceding anything. And I think that is where they are, and I think that is going to be the detriment. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Pat Riley steps down within the next year or two. If this turns out to be a huge fail, right? It's an ugly situation. I ain't gonna say it's tricky. It's just an ugly situation, and it's unfortunate that ugly situations like this always seem to follow Jimmy Butler. Fault unspoken. But
yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of episode 177 of the Spot. Oh, Hawks. We gotta talk about the Hawks. They lost.
We hurt.
Everybody's hurt.
I mean, we played a really good game considering what we had. No Ogie. I don't think we had Jalen. And no Dyson. We got to stop playing now. We in the same boat. We have to figure out what we need to do to get us, because we could get to 6. A couple decent moves, we get to 6. Also, hey man, cut day. Hey, David Roddy got to go. He got to go. And I've seen enough of Dominic Barlow. I've seen enough of Muhammad Gay put up 20 and 15s. And even tonight, Barlow only played 9 minutes. I mean, I guess, damn, Muhammad Gay, you ain't really played like much of nothing either. But Roddy played 18 minutes, was terrible. At least let the young guys play. He don't fit anything. So just let him go. And if we're going to lose, I'll be much more comfortable letting the G League, Dominic Barlow, Muhammad Gay, and Keaton Wallace play and get reps. Don't be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Either come up with a plan or let your young guys get reps. Don't burn your time spinning your wheels.
Yeah, we're going to see. I don't really have nothing to say about the Hawks because at Jalen Johnson, I'm scared. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm scared. That shoulder injury looked bad.
And it was the other shoulder.
Trey Young's hamstring. They say they'll probably be back tomorrow because we got a back-to-back. Got to make up with Houston. Zachary Shea returned. Hunter's back. But this team has to get healthy to even be a mid-level team. I mean, I think for the most part, we've been 500 for 2 years. So
No. We're not doing that either. We're not doing that. We just got back to being 500 since Nate left.
That's 2 years ago.
Yes. So we ain't been 500 for 2 years. We are just returning back to 500.
Okay. We've been 500 for the majority of the year, the past 5 since going to the finals. We've had 1 year where we weren't 500. For the most part, we were 500. Sure, but we've been a 500 team and we're still there. The Hawks. All we're waiting on is to see what moves we're gonna make, if we make any moves at the trade deadline. That's really all I'm waiting on.
Yes, but I mean, at this point, I know I guess let's look when the NBA trade deadline is, because if it's just sticking around with Cody Zeller at the house, I guess. Oh, we here.
Yeah,
it's February 6th.
Yeah.
So it's time to barbecue and mildew, baby.
Yep. But ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of episode 177 of the Splash Cast Monday Night Raw. Know if we didn't miss anything, take us out.
Yes, once again, a fantastic pod. Our executive producer is ready for the late night nightcap. And number one, more black baseball. Number 2, more black cowboys and cowgirls. Number 3, and by far the most important, the historically black college university in your neighborhood, the one that your cousin went to, your auntie went to, the person used to laugh and kiki in the back of church, the one that you went to. Send some money there. The historically black college university in your neighborhood, the one that you go for homecoming, step shows, or just the vibe so you can be around your people. Send some money over there. And then, of course, the greatest learning institution in all the world, the Hampton University. We only asking for $18.68 on behalf of the year that the university was founded. Outside of that, always remember, tuck it, and y'all be safe. Adios, mi amigos. God is love. We will see y'all on Saturday for Saturday Morning Live. Splashcast 24, maybe 36 pack Wednesday.
Show is produced by Creative Logic Solutions. Whether the project is big or small, let Creative Logic Solutions help bring your vision to life. Catch our latest episodes and stay updated with the world of sports by tuning in to the podcast live on Mondays, or catch the re-air on Dive Team Media Network, where you can also check out other Dive Team Media content as well. For collaboration, booking information, or any other inquiries, visit our website at www.thesplashcast.com. Every listen, share, and review is appreciated. Until next time.
What you do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend. Be here for it.